Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be having a quick update on this major winter storm that's currently ongoing across the Severity Plains. And this is going to be eventually affecting more areas up into the Ohio Valley and eventually up into the northeastern United States as well. So this is just going to be a quick update. So it's going to get right into the current hazards as of right now. And you can see, this is a crazy map. All these pink areas in here, these are all winter storm warnings for Brownsville, Texas, all the way up into northern Vermont. At least I think that's northern Vermont. But anyways, just a just pretty impressive with all these watches and warnings. Got an ice storm warning across portions of southeastern Kentucky into West Virginia. Here's another area of ice storm warnings across eastern Pennsylvania and northwestern New Jersey and a county in southern New York. In this one tiny area right in here, that's a blizzard warning. So that's quite interesting there to have blizzard warning there as well, where we could be seeing some near blizzard conditions across these regions. You also notice some winter storm watch for portions of Oklahoma. That's for the next storm system in that'll be getting there. I believe it's going to be Wednesday, which we'll probably have to put that again for a different video. There's still some uncertainties with that system, but there could be another winter storm for possibly for portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and probably include more areas as well. Some of the same areas getting hit by this storm can have more effects, can get more snow, maybe more ice for the next storm later this week. After that, it's going to be pretty quiet, which is something we're all going to need there as well. Meanwhile, areas in blue right up here, those are winter storm watches. Well, some of these areas will get either upgrade to a winter weather advisory, winter storm warning, or maybe an ice storm warning. There could be some ice issues across those regions as well. Pretty crazy to think about as well. I mean, just a crazy map that we got going on here. We'll very quickly take a look to my final snowfall forecast. This could be the final one I could be doing here. So you can notice here, definitely a big difference of what my last forecast had. You can see here I've included pretty much all of Indiana into 8 to 12. There could be some isolated 12 plus. I'm saying isolated. I don't think everybody's going to get 12 plus inches of snow, but there could be some isolated areas that can get to that point. A good chunk of Illinois. You guys could possibly see 8 to 12 inches southeastern Missouri, northeastern Arkansas, western Tennessee, western and northern Kentucky. A good chunk of Ohio as we move up to the northeast, northwestern Pennsylvania, western and northern New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, eventually getting into most of Maine. There as well, could possibly see 8 to 12 inches. Meanwhile, for really, oh yeah, and also 5 to 8 inches of snow for a good chunk of Arkansas as well. But both sides are likely going to be having a very sharp cutoff, which is these could be areas that's going to be pretty tough to forecast. Because wherever the energy, the low pressure is going to be moving, the sharp cutoff is going to move with it. So that's just going to be pretty tough to forecast. But this is definitely going to be a winter storm to remember, for sure. This is just pretty crazy, and there's going to be another storm coming in for some of the similar areas as well. It's going to be quite insane. So let's take a look at the HER model with this. Now, I warn you guys, the models are too warm in some areas. It's too warm across portions of Kentucky because we have ice pack from the last ice storm that we had last week. So the temperatures at the surface is going to be too warm, which may affect the snow and sleet line across some of these regions here, which is going to be a very difficult area to forecast, especially with that sharp cutoff, because that ice pack may actually make a difference here and may move that a little bit further to the southeast, which can really change the forecast as well. But what's been quite different than the last update, malls have been trending since this morning, some of them, not all of them, been trending a little bit further to the northwest than yesterday. So that's been kind of the difference right now for today. Now here comes wave number one for portions of the Ohio Valley. You can see it could be heavy at times in some places, especially across a good chunk of Kentucky. And it should die down a little bit when it gets to Ohio. But here comes the big one, the big storm. Uh, Look across northwestern Louisiana. heavy snow going on. Same way for Severity, Arkansas, and most of eastern Texas. Some of these places can see a decent amount of snow out of that. As we move further in time here, now this is getting into Monday afternoon, Monday evening. You can see here we got a pretty good swath of heavy snow with pretty high perceivable water values of how and also how cold the air is going to be. Some of these places are going to see very high snowfall rates. So we're talking about 2 inches of snow per hour, maybe a little bit higher. And that is some pretty high snowfall rates across some of these regions here. And as we continue on here, and what's also going to be bad with this storm here, there's going to be also an ice storm for for portions of the South, eventually getting up to portions of Kentucky, West Virginia, to Pennsylvania, into the Northeast. There's going to be a pretty decent ice storm with this. But just take a look at this image here. Look at some of these places that just experiencing some heavy, heavy snow, along with some very heavy sleet there as well. Some places will be able to get close to 2 inches of sleet. That's a lot of sleet when you think about it, because sleet is very, very small pebbles of ice. And when you get 2 inches of sleet, that is a lot of sleet. Some also even spitting out 3 inches of sleet, but I don't think that's accurate. In my opinion, 3 inches of sleet is just a ridiculous amount. But looking across portions of Alabama and Mississippi, got some freezing rain mixed in. Some of you guys may be able to see the chance for a quarter of an inch to a half an inch of ice. We can see some isolated spots could get over a half an inch. That's also a possibility. And as we get into Monday evening, you got freezing rain across eastern Kentucky, southeastern Ohio, western West Virginia, even across central Tennessee. But there's some uncertainties with that, with this transition line here. And what's going to be really confusing about this forecast is the warm air aloft. That's what's going to control all of, with your mixed types of precipitation with the warm air aloft. So let's do a little bit short study real quick. So if I get a sounding within this heavy snow, taking a look into this here, you got to pay attention to this line right here. This is your 0 degree line, and this is what's going to make the difference with either getting sleet, snow, or freezing rain. And pay attention to this line right here. So your 0 degree Celsius line is right here. And you can see with these lines, if they kind of go a little bit kind of into a little bit of left of that, it's going to be mainly snow. Now, if it's a little over and a little bit down to the right, that could be sleet. Then if your line goes something like this, that's going to be freezing rain. Let me show you guys some of these other soundings as well, just kind of give you a difference. So this is sleet here, and you can see here with your line here, 850 millibars. This is where your warm air aloft is going to be. You can see how your line just goes just to the right of the 0 degree line, 0 degree Celsius line, which gives you sleet. And if we go into freezing rain, where we have a pretty good warm air aloft, which that warm air aloft really is you got above freezing temperatures at 850 millibars, which is over 32 degrees. And you also got at the surface 27 degrees. That's freezing rain. Wherever falls this rain, it's going to turn into ice on contact. And that's where you're going to get some of your significant amounts at. Now, light to moderate freezing rain, that's where you can get some of your best accumulations. Heavy freezing rain, some of that rain or water droplets or whatever, it's going to slide off. It's not going to accumulate as well. So, kind of have to hope for heavy freezing rain than just light to moderate, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But you can see your line is really far to the right, kind of getting closer to that 10 degrees Celsius line. So yeah, and that's how you indicate freezing rain, sleet, and snow on a sounding. And as we continue on here, you can see here your low is kind of going over the Smoky Mountains. This is going to be continuing moving to the northeast. And if you look at to the northern side, you just got bands of moderate to heavy snow. Some of these places can reach double-digit snowfall totals. And then you can see here, then it moves up into the northeastern United States as well. And you can see how it also deepens as well to a little bit of a stronger low. We could quickly look into the northeast United States for some of your northeast United States viewers. Let's kind of take a look into it. We're going to wait for this to load for a little bit. So, eventually, as we kind of get into Monday afternoon, you can see here some of your snow, freeze, and rain and stuff like that starts to arrive, at least get into portions of Pennsylvania. And as we kind of continue on here, this is now getting into Tuesday night. You got areas of, at times, moderate, light to moderate freezing rain. Some places get a heavy freezing rain, which you could get a good amount of ice accumulations, which could be anywhere from a quarter of an inch to a half an inch of ice. And on the northern side of this, you got moderate to heavy snow across a lot of these regions here. And you can kind of see here how it really starts to continue up to move that way. Let's take a look to some of these snowfall totals from the HER. And keep in mind, guys, all these balls are too warm for temperatures, which I'll show you guys. You know, the Kentucky Mesonet side adjustable, which you guys probably don't know what it is. So you guys are probably not familiar with, which I'll talk about it. So these are the snowfall totals just from the HER bottle. You can see here a pretty good swath. Areas of the purple, that's at least 6 inches of snow. When you get areas into the red, that's over 12 inches. That's at least a foot. You can see here some places getting up to a foot of snow across some of these areas. If we move back down into the Ohio Valley, you can see here with some of these double-digit snowfall totals. And look how widespread this is. I mean, this is crazy. 6 to, some places getting 11 inches of snow over this large of an area. I mean, nearly all of Indiana just getting slammed by quite a bit of snow. I don't think nobody in Indiana is going to be complaining if you like snow. So this is kind of insane here. This is going to be a pretty huge snow swath here. And a lot of these places going to get at least 6 inches of snow across some of these regions here. And that's also been a trend as well. The snow shield has been getting a little bit larger across portions of Illinois and Missouri. So your snowfall totals are going to be rising up as well. There's also a little bit more energy to work with as well in some of those areas. And like I was talking about some of those warm temperatures, this is what the HER thinks what the current temperature is right now. Which kind of where I live, it says it's 27 degrees here. But if we look into the Mesonet site, it's actually 24 degrees, which is off by 3 degrees, which is significant. What's also good to note here is for some snow lovers across portions of central Kentucky, you've got your Arctic air is also a little bit further east. It's further east by 5-10 miles, but I guarantee you that's going to make a big difference with its snow and sleet line. That could actually make it go a little bit further to the southeast than what the HER ball is showing. And that's something we got to watch for as well. And the rapid refresh is the same, and basically all the other models as well, pretty much similar, with the surface temperatures being way too warm. So this is the rapid refresh, and you can see here it's pretty similar. And like I was talking about, probably moving a little bit further southeast, look at some of these snowfall totals across portions of Kentucky. Let me get that off there. And you can see here, definitely a little bit of a difference. It's also a little bit further to the southeast, which I may have to go that route. We're just going to have to see how this is going to go. But again, it's going to really have to depend on that warm air loft, that 850 millibars, which is something I've been watching very closely here. Which for the next several hours, it's going to be sticking around this red line, which it has been for the last 3 hours. But we're going to see here how this is going to shift around. This is 0 degrees at 850 millibars. And that's what's going to determine your precipitation type as well. So going back here, you can see here, widespread. Man, look at Chicago. Something that's going to be dealing with lake effect snow. This model is indicating Chicago may be able to see 15 inches of snow, which we do have winter storm warnings for that as well. Look right around Detroit, 10 inches of snow. I know someone did complain on the last video. I did not talk about much about Kansas, so I do apologize for that. I really do apologize for that. But you can see here for some additional snowfall totals, central and western Kansas, basically your guys' event is done. But for eastern Kansas, you guys could probably see another inch, 2, maybe up to 3 inches of snow before this done. Before the next system comes in, which you guys could possibly see a little bit more snow as well, which that's going to be for a different video. But then again, looking at this here, this is just a very large swath of snow. I mean, this is quite crazy. This is definitely going to be a pretty memorable one for everybody. But you can also see here, it's got some places picking up to 13 inches of snow, like in southwestern Kentucky, central Indiana, and even back into southern Illinois. So these places may even get more snow than the Northeast, which is kind of crazy to think about. That doesn't happen often. If we look into the NAM model, which from what I've heard from many meteorologists, it has a warm bias in the 850 millibars, which did get busted a couple times for having a warm bias with that warm air aloft. So it's kind of keeping everything a little bit further to the northwest. But either way, in Indiana, Illinois, 13 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow. When you think about it, back down in Arkansas, a foot. That is quite a bit of snow that could be coming. Around Detroit, nearly a foot. But you can also notice for northeastern Ohio, quite a sharp cutoff here. And this is one of the buys in the models. This is actually the furthest northwest of the models right now. And the high-risk name is basically the same thing too. But you can see how far northwest this is. I think that's kind of a bias right now, and I don't think it's not going to be that far northwest, but we're going to see what's going to happen here. If we look at the high-risk name, basically the same thing, but it also shows even higher snowfall totals. Some places picking up 17 inches of snow. Do I think it's going to happen? No. It's pretty much the only model that's showing that. But we could definitely see some spots picking up maybe a chance for 13 inches in some places. It's a possibility. And you can see here comes your next storm coming in back into Oklahoma. That's what we had that winter storm watch for. What's going back to the NAM model, you can see here, some of the same places could see more snow, but we're going to see about that as well. But I think that's pretty much it here for this video. So, yeah, a lot of snows could be coming for a lot of these regions here. Let's actually take a look at radar real quick. I actually almost forgot. So this is what we're currently looking at right now. And this is crazy. Severity, Texas. Corpus Christi. Sleet. Freeze rain in Lardo. I don't think I pronounced that right. Look right around Houston. Sleet, freezing rain, snow. You got a mix of everything going on down there. Austin, Texas, ice pellets, snow, freezing rain. If you're going to be in these areas, please be careful. Keep your speed down. Please. We have a lot of accidents going on down there. I understand the speed limit is pretty high across some of these areas of Texas, but keep your speed down, please. These roads are likely going to be slick. Dallas, the conditions are actually a little bit worse. We're actually getting reports of blowing snow. So if you look at radar, most of this is snow, which you can see are some bands of heavy snow across these places, especially around Tyler, Texas there. We had a report of a major pileup just east of Oklahoma City here, which is pretty bad along Interstate 44. And you can see here we got some blowing snow reports. There could be near blizzard conditions in some of these places, so be careful. We also had a big pileup report in El Paso, Texas as well. So please be careful on these roads. It's likely going to be slick, and especially for areas across Severity, Texas, if the road looks wet, it's likely going to be icy. Speaking of that, if you're in along I-75 in portions of southeastern Kentucky, we got portions of the interstate closed because of the freezing drizzle. Put a glaze of ice on the road and caused multiple accidents. It was so bad they had to close portions of the interstate. Same way with the Mountain Parkway as well. We got portions of the parkway closed there as well. And you can see what the first wave of snow. Oh wow, that's actually pretty impressive here. We got heavy, looks to be some heavy snow and sleet across these regions here. That's actually pretty impressive. If we look at down here, I mean, that's a lot. 50 decibels. That's impressive. Um, Very heavy sleet and snow across the reaches here, especially right around Nashville and places like that. Please be careful across these regions here because the roads are likely to be slick. But anyways, guys, oh wait a minute, almost forgot something. Something almost forgot to mention, which nobody has not mentioned yet. If we go back to the her model, and I don't think the site's gonna have, no, it's not gonna let me. But anyways, some models are trying to spit out some good wind gusts across portions of Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio, so there could be some blizzard conditions, but that's not what I'm really talking about. I'm talking about where some of these places still has ice from the last ice storm last week, and that can cause more damage to trees, can bring down power lines down, and it could also be a little bit windy in southeastern Kentucky as well. So just be prepared for like any power outages. Trees could come down as well because of the weight of the ice. So that's going to be a big concern. And that is something that nobody has mentioned yet across these regions here. Is that there could be more tree damage. If we're going to see wind gusts 30, 35 miles an hour, there's going to be a lot of tree damage out there. And there could be some potentially isolated to scatter power outages. So if you live across, especially across some of these regions in here, just be prepared for a power outage or anything like that. Especially for people that's going to be within this ice storm system, just be prepared for possibly a power outage as well. And one last thing before I end this video, let's talk about the severity index, the winter storm severity index by the Weather Prediction Center. And you can see here, let's move our view down into the several plains, the south central United States. Areas in the purple, that's where we expect some extreme impacts here. So that means like blowing snow. This is dangerous to life if you're going to be out there in the cold. This could be life threatening. You can have a lot of snow as well. And you can have some dangerous wind chills as well across the regions here. So there's going to be some extreme impacts from this storm here. If we move up to the Ohio Valley, don't be too surprised that some of these areas across these areas right here do get upgraded to extreme impacts due to with the wind, the blowing snow, and stuff like that. So be careful out there. In areas in the red, major impacts. Areas in the orange, moderate impacts. And areas in the yellow, that is minor impacts, which means it's just not too big of a deal. But areas in the orange, the red, and the purples, those will be areas that will be experiencing we'll really definitely notice some of those impacts as well, especially for areas in the red and the purple. You guys could possibly see some of the worst impacts from this storm. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you really do like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, you can put a comment section down below. I'll answer you guys questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.